In 1987, a seemingly innocuous antique clock was brought to a small, unassuming watch repair shop in rural Ohio. What the veteran horologist Arthur Finch found inside wasn't just complex clockwork, but something so profoundly out of place, so impossibly advanced, it would challenge everything he, and indeed science, believed about the limits of human ingenuity and our understanding of history. This wasn't just a clock, it was a paradox ticking away in plain sight, a mechanism that shouldn't exist, and its discovery would open a Pandora's box of questions that remain unanswered to this very day. To truly grasp the magnitude of Arthur Finch's discovery, we need to understand the man himself. Arthur wasn't just a watch repairman, he was an artist of gears and springs, a self-taught historian of horology, with a reputation for resurrecting timepieces others deemed beyond repair. His shop, Finch's Finer Fixes, was a relic in itself, filled with the rhythmic tick-tock of 100 different eras, a symphony of forgotten time. He prided himself on his encyclopedic knowledge of mechanisms, from the most intricate Swiss movements to the robust simplicity of early American industrial clocks. Nothing surprised him, nothing stumped him, or so he thought. That was until a dusty, unremarkable wooden clock, roughly the size of a shoebox, arrived on his workbench, left by an anonymous courier with a cryptic note: "Fix the heart that doesn't beat." The exterior was deceptive. Dark, aged wood, typical of late 19th century German craftsmanship, nothing to suggest the secrets nested within. But the minute Arthur picked it up, a subtle, almost imperceptible vibration hummed within his hand, a sensation that belied its silent face. He knew immediately this was no ordinary clock, and his curiosity, a trait far more potent than any fear, was instantly piqued. He didn't just want to fix it, he needed to understand it. The subsequent days would pull him down a rabbit hole, far deeper and stranger than any mechanism he had ever encountered. Arthur began his meticulous examination, a process born of decades of experience. The wooden casing was indeed period-appropriate, but upon opening the back panel, the illusion shattered. Instead of brass and steel, he found a dense, dark metallic cube, perfectly centered within the clock's interior. It wasn't attached to any gears, nor did it seem to be the power source for the hands, which were, upon closer inspection, purely decorative. He tried to remove the cube, but it was fused to the casing with an unknown, glass-like adhesive. He had to dismantle the clock around it. What he uncovered next sent a shiver down his spine. The cube was not solid, but comprised of interlocking plates, seamlessly joined with no visible seams or screws. He carefully, painstakingly worked at it, a jeweler's loop pressed to his eye until he located the first delicate seam. It wasn't a seam in the conventional sense, but a microscopic fracture, almost biological in its fluidity. Inside, instead of cogs and springs, were layers upon layers of wafer-thin, translucent material, each etched with impossibly intricate patterns. These weren't integrated circuits he recognized. They weren't mechanical or electrical in any known sense. They seemed to hum with an internal energy, glowing faintly with a soft, azure light that flickered in a non-rhythmic pulse. He identified what appeared to be an energy core, an iridescent crystal pulsating at its heart, completely self-contained, requiring no external power. He tried to identify the alloy of the cube itself, impervious to his strongest acids, resistant to his diamond-tipped cutters. It felt incredibly light, yet possessed a tensile strength he couldn't measure. This wasn't any metal known to 20th century metallurgy. Arthur spent weeks, then months, hunched over his workbench, the outside world fading into irrelevance. He consulted old engineering texts, obscure philosophical treatises, even discredited theories of ancient technology. Nothing remotely matched what he was holding. He grew gaunt, his eyes bloodshot, his shop dark save for the azure glow of the mechanism, which he now called simply the device. He became secretive, locking his shop doors, turning away customers. His only companion was the ticking enigma, each pulse of light drawing him deeper into its alien logic. He theorized it was a data storage device, its etched layers holding information, but how to access it? The clock face was still a mystery. It wasn't showing time. Its hands twitched spasmodically, occasionally locking into complex, non-numerical patterns. He noticed these patterns sometimes correlated with the azure pulses from the core. He began to painstakingly catalog these light patterns alongside the hand movements, searching for a Rosetta Stone that would unlock its secrets. His wife, worried, tried to intervene, but Arthur, consumed, pushed her away. This was his life's culmination, his ultimate puzzle, and he was convinced it held answers to questions humanity hadn't even learned to ask. The true horror, the mind-bending revelation, came after almost a year of relentless, solitary work. Arthur, through a process of sheer intuitive brilliance, or perhaps pure desperation, stumbled upon the interface. The clock hands, he realized, were not pointers, but inputs, and the luminous patterns within the core were outputs. By aligning the hands to a specific recurring pattern he had observed, the mechanism responded in a way that had never happened before. The azure core pulsed violently, then steadied, and a soft, melodic hum began to emanate from within the device. The decorative clock face, once an inert facade, began to shimmer. Small, microscopic characters, previously invisible, materialized on its surface, glowing with the same azure light. It wasn't a language, it was a sequence of symbols, not alphabetic, but pictographic, each depicting complex geometric forms, some abstract, others almost biological in their intricate detail. Arthur, breath held captive in his lungs, observed as the symbols shifted, morphing into new combinations, like a silent, alien transmission. He recognized a pattern, a cyclical presentation, repeating certain sequences. He found a strange, compelling rhythm in it, and began to manually transcribe these symbols, hundreds of them, into his worn leather journal. After weeks of transcription, a terrifying thought began to form. These symbols, taken together, didn't form words, they formed instructions. Instructions for a process, a construction, a transformation. He spent hours trying to make sense of the sequences. Some seemed to describe astronomical alignments, impossible planetary configurations. Others outlined what looked like blueprints for structures that defied physics. Then one terrifying sequence repeated over and over, pulsing brighter than the rest. A symbol resembling an anatomical heart, intricately detailed, with lines extending outwards, followed by another symbol that Arthur could only interpret as reconstruction or rejuvenation. And then the final chilling image, a human silhouette, indistinct, but unmistakably human, shattering into fragments, only to reform, perfect and whole. It was a message, Arthur realized with a sickening lurch in his stomach, not a record. It was a set of schematics, a program, a recipe for something unimaginable. He had peered into the heart of an impossible machine, and it was showing him how to create life, or perhaps recreate it. Arthur Finch never fully decoded the impossible mechanism. The strain, the isolation, the sheer weight of what he had uncovered eventually took its toll. He was found in his shop, weeks after anyone had last seen him, his journal open to the last transcribed symbols, his face gaunt, his eyes wide, still fixed on the now dark, silent device. The heart that didn't beat had, perhaps, beaten his own to a standstill. The mechanism itself was confiscated by an unnamed government agency, its existence swiftly reclassified, buried under layers of secrecy and denial. The antique clock's wooden casing was discarded, its true nature erased from public record. To this day, the origin of the impossible mechanism remains a profound mystery. Was it a relic from a forgotten, hyper-advanced civilization? A message from extraterrestrial beings? Or a glimpse into a potential future sent back through time? We may never know. All that remains is the chilling possibility that somewhere, locked away in a secure vault, an alien program for recreating life, or perhaps something even more terrifying, waits to be fully deciphered. The tick-tock of ordinary clocks continues, marking the passage of time without truly understanding the quantum leaps of ingenuity that may lie hidden, waiting to be rediscovered, or perhaps waiting to be reborn. If you want more mysteries that challenge our understanding of reality, the next video explores the chilling enigma of forgotten languages and the secrets they might hold. Don't miss it!